Tonight on Supersize versus Superskinny, a supersized cheese addict...
I'm a human dustbin. I just eat everything.
...and a superskinny obsessive portion controller.
I start my day with 30 grams of cereal, and anything over 30 grams is too big a portion for me.
They'll be confronting their unhealthy relationships with food in a 5-day stay at Dr. Christian Jessen's feeding clinic. And looking back to a time before they had eating disorders prompts the girls to face some important home truths.
Don't shake your head and dismiss it, because, you know, we're not all wrong.
This week's Supersizer is 37-year-old Stu Preston from Manchester.
I love food. I've always loved food. I've been brought up to finish my plate. So, yeah, I do.
There's one food in particular that drives Stu wild.
I like lots of cheese. Chips and cheese, chips, cheese and beans, chips, cheese and gravy, cheese on top of a chili con carne or a spag bowl, cheese on toast, cheese on crumpets. Or just simply cheese on its own.
His girlfriend Anne has recently lost 5 stone and loves cycling, but Stu's stuck in a rut.
Perhaps we're growing apart a little bit because I'm out all the time cycling. We can't spend any time together because of his weight.
Stu knows he's digging his own grave with a knife and fork, so he's checked himself into Dr. Christian's feeding clinic. He's undergone a full medical to establish exactly what his diet's doing to his health. At 27 stone 13 pounds, Stu is a heart-stopping 16 stone overweight. A healthy weight for a man of 5'11" is between 11.5 and 12.5 stone.
Talk me through, then, your weight history as it is. Why on earth has this happened to you?
So I stopped doing exercise and passed my driving test when I was 17.
What about other aspects of your life? So let's talk about sort of sex, life and things, relationships.
Yeah.
Does it affect that?
Yeah, I've definitely lost my mojo. For want of a better phrase, I don't really feel sexy anymore.
Well, interestingly, actually, because we did a load of blood tests on you before you came here, you have a below normal testosterone.
Right.
It's low. And that's almost certainly to do with your weight.
Mentally, I want to do it all the time, but my body's just saying, can't be bothered.
I mean, it is hard in the bedroom because his belly's in the way. He's broke the bed because of his weight.
But Stu is not the only one committing catastrophic calorific crimes. It's time to meet his fellow diet swapper, super skinny 25-year-old mum of 2, Alice Duran, from Devon.
When I look in the mirror, I do not like what I see at all. There's nothing feminine about it whatsoever. All I see is bones.
Alice rigidly controls her diet and obsessively weighs her food.
I have 30 grams of cereal every day. I just have like a really tiny bit of skimmed milk. I always have my lunch at the same time every day. One day I'll have vegetable soup or carrot soup or tomato soup or minestrone soup with bits in. Generally, day to day is the same.
And there's one thing Alice steers clear of.
I tend to always pick the fat-free versions. My diet is definitely a fat-free diet.
Alice's dislike of any type of fat and her strictly controlled diet has left her caught in a potentially dangerous routine. At 5'6½", Alice should tip the scales between 9 and 10 stone. But she weighs in at a meagre 7 stone 13.
I'm really unhappy with my weight at the moment. In the last 3 years, I lost from 10.5 stone down to what I am now. Generally, every day, it just makes me miserable.
It's upsetting, really, when I look at her. Although she's alive, there's no sparkle in her eye.
Time for some straight talking from Dr. Christian.
OK, Alice, what isn't good at all is your rigid military precision in the way that you control your food. That worries me. Tell me about that.
It's just a case of comfortable eating habits. I just tend to eat the same foods over and over again.
You say comfortable. Isn't this a real nuisance?
Not really, because I kind of think it's quite a healthy diet, so I just tend to stick to it.
But as a mum of 2 young sons, this isn't just about Alice.
The kids are getting older. They can see what my eating habits are, and it's scaring me. I don't eat with them, and as they grow up and they start seeing other people's families all sitting down, have meals together, and they're going to start wondering why we don't do it. I just don't want them to think it's normal. I don't want to do myself some serious harm from not eating enough and not be there for them.
Alice and Stu's appetites are poles apart. For the next 5 days, these food failures will be swapping diets to encourage Alice to eat more and Stu to eat less. But before finding out what's on the menu, it's time Supersize met Superskinny.
Hello! Nice to meet you. Oh, God.
What do you weigh?
I weigh 8 stone.
I weigh 28 stone.
28?
Yeah.
20 stone.
Right.
Wow, he's big, and yeah, there's a big size difference there.
I was expecting someone smaller than me, but maybe not quite as skinny as she is.
Now they've weighed each other up, it's time for Dr. Christian to bring Stu and Alice face to face with each other's diets and see what's on the menu this week.
So we're going to start with you, Alice, just because. And we're going to start at the top of the day with breakfasts.
That's my whole week's cereal.
That's your whole week's breakfasts.
That looks really small.
It is really small.
Oh, my God.
What do you have to say for yourself there?
Sorry.
OK, so I think it's lunchtime now.
That's Melba toasts.
That you have with?
Soup.
Soup really is your lunch of choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Every day?
Yeah, every day.
And then finally, dinners. That was a small bowl of porridge. We're at dinners now, not breakfast anymore. What do you tend to drink?
Coffee. Oh, that looks horrible.
So thinking about your kids now on that diet and your kids watching you eating that sort of diet, what are your thoughts?
I don't want them to think that's normal. It's not enough.
It certainly isn't enough. Alice should be consuming 2,000 calories a day, but she's taking on just 1,200, the amount recommended for a 1-year-old girl.
Right, Stuart, then. Starting, as we do, with breakfast. We've got burgers, chips, eggs, beans. What other things do you have for breakfast?
Crumpets, sausages.
Moving on to lunches. Do you have chips with everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's your probably one main vegetable, isn't it? Let's go on for dinners and see if this gets any better at all. OK, here we go. Ooh, a lot of beans. Oh, we're not done with dinners. There's more dinner. What do you put on your broccoli?
Cheese.
What do you put on virtually all of your food?
Cheese.
Everything is in excess. All the bad fats you're having far too much of. Salt you're having far too much of. It needs to change. This is appalling.
Yeah.
It's appalling considering Stu should be eating 2,500 calories a day. Instead, he's packing away 5,600. He's eating for 2.
Heart attack in a tube.
Seeing all my food in that tube, it makes me feel sick.
This week's feeding clinic residents are cheese addict Stu and super skinny portion controller Alice. Stu weighs in at almost 3.5 Alice's, so they've swapped diets to help Stu curb his enormous appetite for fatty foods and to help Alice break her regimented eating habits. Alice's first meal swap is an extra large portion of chip shop chips, full tin of beans and tons of cheese.
Whoa!
Meanwhile, Stu's first evening meal is a precisely weighed out 30 grams of porridge made with skimmed milk.
Right.
Good luck with that.
Hope you enjoy yours as well. So do you think that'll be enough to keep you going until tomorrow morning?
Probably not, no. I don't expect you to finish it all.
Stu may not expect her to finish his supersize serving, but he also didn't expect Alice's supersize secret.
Would you believe me if I told you that I was once 17 stone?
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I've always struggled with my weight. When I was big, my favourite food was cheese. Somebody could put like a massive block of cheese and I would just eat it. There is no limit to how much cheese I would have eaten.
After the birth of her first son, Alice decided her overeating had to stop.
I enrolled in a slimming club, so I got down to about 10 stone, and then I fell pregnant again.
It was during this second pregnancy that Alice's fear of putting on weight again took hold.
She panicked and then she started controlling everything, and then she got proper into it again and she lost more and more weight.
I don't trust myself to eat certain foods. I don't have cheese anymore because I think that is what led me to be overweight in the first place. Sort of like once I get going, that's it then. I'm back onto a road of obesity, as it were.
So this must be pretty bad for you, eating all this cheese, no? You're doing well here. I am amazed.
Although Alice is confronting her biggest food fear, cheese, something is spurring her on.
You all right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah,
I suppose it's just that everything I do here is like for them, you know, so that they don't see it. It's hard.
It's only day 2 and already the diet swap is proving to be a struggle for Stu and Alice.
Can't really remember the last time I felt this hungry, to be honest. It is so long ago.
I did get a little bit upset last night, being away from the boys and things like that. I'm really missing them.
After kicking off the day with a 30-gram bowl of cereal for Stu and a bacon sandwich for Alice...
That's a bit of fat there. Oh. Down the hatch.
They head out for a taste of driving instructor Stu's sedentary lifestyle.
Right.
We're going to go out and experience a day in the life of Stu.
Which sees him spending all day, every day, in his car. And between lessons, it's a case of mirror, signal, muck manoeuvre as he hits the drive-through.
3 double cheeseburgers, lovely.
It's lunch on the go, Stu style, but he'll be foregoing his usual burger bonanza for some soup, a yoghurt and an apple.
Oh, very nice. Thank you.
Just an hour after breakfast, Alice is faced with eating another 1,320 calories, more than she'd usually eat in a day.
You always wonder how people manage to gain weight and not realise that they gain weight, and then when you sit down and see the quantities of it, that it becomes clear. Do you worry, like, about how, like, salty these foods are? You just think about the taste?
The only time I think about salt is if I got some of the fries and they hadn't put salt on them.
And you'd put it on?
Yeah.
Stu is among the 26 million adults in the UK who eat too much salt. The recommended daily amount is 6 grams, but Stu eats more than 4 times this, putting him at risk of high blood pressure, heart disease and stroke. Just 2 hours later, they're back at the drive-thru for Alice's 3rd meal in 3 hours. Another double burger, fish burger, large fries and a milkshake. A gut-busting 1,840 calories in one sitting.
Look at it, oh my... I'm not even hungry at all. I suppose it's quite upsetting, really, because it's just like that somebody feels the need to eat so much. Oh, I can't do any more of that. It's death in a box, ooh.
If I carry on eating like that, I'll be dead in a box.
Watching someone else struggling to eat his usual daily diet is now really affecting Stu.
When I'm eating it, I don't really pay any attention to it. I'm just listening to the radio or doing anything else but actually concentrating on the food. So I don't really assess what's there, I just like that. But seeing somebody else eating it has had quite a profound effect on me, really. You know, it's pretty disgusting, to be honest, the amount that I eat.
Like Stu and Alice in our feeding clinic, a growing number of people are struggling with issues connected to their eating habits. This series, 3 women suffering with different eating disorders are taking part in a specially designed course of therapy to develop a healthier relationship with food. The course is being overseen by consultant psychiatrist Dr. Helena Fox and led by dietitian Ursula Philpot. For today's session, Ursula has asked Mina, Erin and Emma to bring along photos of when they were younger.
Today I'd like the group to reflect on their childhoods, and I'm hoping that this will remind them of a time when they had a more healthy and better relationship with food.
This photo pretty much sums me up. It's me when I'm a baby, like absolutely loving eating something chocolatey. But I just have that look of absolute ecstasy on my face that I'm having that cake. Seeing that picture of me as a baby, it made me think, oh, when you're a kid, you just don't care. You just don't care about food. You just eat what you want to eat and what you enjoy, and why can't it be like that now?
Well, I can remember always being a bit obsessive about food and always having to have the biggest slice, otherwise it was actually a disaster. Then there's me in my teens. I was constantly convinced I was enormous and had to lose weight. I look at this picture of myself at 18, and I think I look like a little pig, to be honest. I've just got a horrible fat face.
So I think you look really healthy. I think you look really pretty. You know, you can really see your face. You look so happy there.
Emma, do you want to talk us through some of your photos?
No.
No? I know this is something you're going to find quite difficult. Yeah.
Yes. Skiing holiday. I'm clearly a teenager.
It's a lovely photo. Were you normal with food then, do you think? Or?
Yeah. This was sixth form.
You glamorous.
This was when the local paper came to take photos of me for Miss Ferndown.
I can see why you got chosen. You look amazing.
You do. You're so pretty.
And I know what the other girls were trying to say to me, but I just can't seem to hear compliments from people. I just shut it out and brush it off. I just won't take it.
For the next part of the session, Ursula is using food to once again take them back to when food wasn't a problem. She's asked them to cook and, more importantly, eat a favourite childhood treat.
I've always really enjoyed cooking, so I thought it'd be nice just to make some pancakes, because I know I used to love them so much when I was younger.
Mina has chosen a traditional Indian semolina, a dish that reminds her of growing up at home. And Emma's chosen fairy cakes.
You always tell sort of not to put your fingers in the bowls, but I always did.
People with eating disorders generally are real foodies. They love food and they like cooking and baking, but they won't allow themselves the experience of eating the food. For someone with anorexia, the worry is that they're always going to eat too much, and so they restrict the food quite severely.
No, I've never lost the interest in cooking and, you know, cooking for other people. Just I used to be able to partake in it, but now I no longer partake.
People with eating disorders really obsess about food because they are thinking about it all the time. They think about menus, recipes, cooking, preparing food, and they even get a vicarious pleasure out of watching other people eat whilst they're not eating. Yes, they love food because they're hungry, but they're absolutely terrified of their desire to eat and lose control.
For someone with bulimia, the temptation is to overeat and not be able to stop eating once you begin.
Maybe being around the cakes would be quite hard for me today, because I'd be tempted to eat them all.
Once the dishes are cooked, the group must face their anxieties about eating them head-on.
When was the last time you ate something like this?
A long, long time.
Years, maybe, then?
Yeah.
Emma's anxiety about eating is so severe that, like many sufferers, she's given her disorder a separate identity, naming it Ed.
I'm just so apprehensive about it because I'm scared that Ed's going to go, oh no, what happens if you kind of like enjoy them again and like binge away and eat the whole lot? And
looking at those cakes, I would be in the mind that if I have one, I'm going to eat them all. But if I don't have any, then I'd feel better. But that's how, you know, I used to be restrictive as well. And then I ended up being bulimic and then back to anorexia binge purge. So I've never found the mid-ground and been happy with it, yeah.
I mean, if I were to eat all of that, I definitely want to go and be sick.
But despite their apprehension, all three women attempt to eat their childhood treats. Controlling their anxieties and urge to binge is something Mina and Erin share. But they both manage a sensible portion of their food, avoiding overeating and the need to purge.
The pancake was really nice. I haven't had lemon curd for a while. It was nice and sweet. Yeah, I think I could have a few pancakes every now and again.
Emma, meanwhile, struggles with her childhood favourite.
How was the cake, Emma?
yeah, it's nice, yeah. It's weighing up in my mind at the moment whether to eat it all or not.
No, that's what I was about to ask you, and I think you definitely should.
It's just, I don't justify having it. It's, you know, these good things are for other people to enjoy, not for me. Just don't deserve it.
That's terrible, because everyone here can look at you and think, look, you're a lovely girl, you're really polite, you are a really nice person, and it's a shame that you can't see that when everyone else around you can tell you. Don't shake your head and dismiss it, because, you know, we're not all wrong. You've just got a distorted perception of yourself, and you need to question it to get better.
At the moment, Emma just doesn't believe that her body deserves nourishment or nice food, and that's something she really has to work on if she wants to move forwards with this.
But despite these negative feelings, Emma manages to finish the cake.
It's nice, I'm enjoying it, and yeah, Emma wants to finish it and have it all, and I will do.
Good.
More of it.
If you've been affected by any of the issues raised, go to our website, channel4.com/Supersize v Superskinny. Next week, we tackle the girls' low self-esteem with a revealing shopping trip.
I just don't like the arms. I need a great big jumper.
And Erin reaches a major crossroads in her road to recovery.
I just think it's made me realise how bad I really am.
It's day 4 at the feeding clinic for Supersize cheeseaholic Stu.
How would you survive on this little amount of food?
And Superskinny portion controller Alice.
So since eating this, all I want to do is sleep.
It's their 3rd evening together, and our diet swappers are looking back over their lives.
How old are you on that one there?
I'm 16 there. It was when I started to live by myself.
And is that when you started?
Started...
Putting weight on?
Yeah. There, I'm 19 now.
Right, so that's about 3 years.
Yeah.
That just does not look like you.
No.
That looks like your fat auntie or something like that.
Yeah, I was eating all the wrong things.
You eating cheese there?
Oh, jeez. And then this one here, I was 20, just about to have my first baby there. To be honest, I got to the point there where I was like, well, do you know what I mean? I'm big anyway, I'm big, I'll just eat whatever I want. After I had Edward, it was a really difficult birth with him. And a lot of blame, as it were, was put on me that it was difficult because I was an overweight mother and stuff like that.
But and between there and there, how had you got down to that?
I done my slimming plan.
Right.
I got down to a nice weight, got down to about 10 stone, looked healthy, fell pregnant with George. And I think that is where some of my problems started relating to food.
Yeah.
I think I had a fear that I was going to go back to that.
As Alice puts her controlling ways with food in the frame, Stu has some surprises of his own.
I think I'm 17 there.
Look at how different you look.
I think I pulled that night.
Did you? Not surprised dressed like that.
Hello. That one there, I think I'm about 21 there. Probably about 23 there. I was married there.
Right, so what happened in between there?
I'm not as happy there.
Are you still married?
Still married, but not happy. I think we just drifted apart a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe wanted different things. So I started drinking more, going out more.
So do you think that going from happy to unhappy, I mean...
It's sharp, hasn't it? Yeah. It's just blatantly obvious why I'm fat and what's happened and when it happened. These emotions up and down and eating, it's become a way of life as opposed to a consequence of something. So I don't know any different now.
So far, Alice has struggled eating Stu's supersized diet, not helped by all that cheese. Whilst once again, Stu faces a precisely weighed out 30 grams of cereal and a splash of skimmed milk.
Wow, look at all of that, look!
It's cheese fest.
Oh my God. Really stodgy.
So the amount of cornflakes are in here, how much have I got?
I always have 30 grams worth.
What's the reason for that?
When I was losing weight, that was like the amount that was
recommended
right, as a medium portion, and I thought medium was okay. I don't want to be rude, but like these portions are huge.
Oh no, you're right.
And
what you have to understand is I don't see this.
Later that morning, the stress of eating Stu's supersized meals leaves Alice at rock bottom.
I just feel so awful, really tired and really like lethargic and really like just gross, and it's just a horrible feeling that food can make you feel like that.
Alice's obsessive portion control and the stress she feels when she's got food in her stomach is ringing alarm bells for Dr. Christian.
Has anyone talked to you about anorexia?
It's sort of like been brought up that, you know, that could be the route that will go down if I carry on.
I have to say to you as a doctor, you are displaying an awful lot of the signs of anorexia. The sort of fear of food, you know? You really are. And that's really why I'm worried and why I want to come and talk to you. And I think it stems from fear a bit, that fear of going back to your old self when you were overweight. Why does that upset you?
Because I don't want to be like that. You know, I've seen what it can do to people, you know, and it's just, that's why I need to sort it out now.
If me talking about it does scare you a little bit, and I mean this in a really nice way, good.
Yeah.
You know, because I want to scare you a little bit to make sure that you see the need for change and that you actually implement that change. I've had this chat with Alice because I want her to understand the serious consequences her eating habits will have on her physical and her mental health. For the rest of this week, I want her to focus on increasing her portion size and realising that eating sensibly will not make her obese again.
Will Alice's chat with Dr. Christian make a difference and get her to increase the amount of food she's eating? Lunchtime today brings another supersized serving.
It's just the same food over and over and over again.
Yeah.
That's 2 muffins, 4 sausages and yet more cheese. But this time, can Alice manage to finish it?
It's just so fatty. Oh my God, I nearly choked on the stringy cheese. Because now it's like cooling down, it's just going hard.
See, I wouldn't get that because it'd be gone by now. You're loving it really, aren't you? Go on, I dare you. I double dare you. You can do it. Amazing.
It's a huge breakthrough for Alice as she finishes her first supersized lunch, despite all that cheese. On the final day in the feeding clinic, it's time to address the fact both Stu and Alice avoid exercise.
Oh, wow! You love it, don't you? You're mountain biking.
Stu used to cycle with his girlfriend until his excess weight broke his bike.
Me and my girlfriend, Anne, were in a mountain biking club and I stay behind. A few of them have said, you know, come on, Stu, get out on your bike, you felt past it.
So we've sorted them both out with bikes and Stu's is extra strong.
I'm ready.
Oh, don't do that!
Bicycle, bicycle, bicycle.
Being on this bike today has made me feel that I really, really want to get back into it. I am really tired, but I'll be doing something like this instead of sitting in the house, playing computer games. It's going to allow me and Anne to do stuff together.
Our diet swappers are nearing the end of their stay in the feeding clinic and making positive steps to change. But Stu is still not taking the whole experience seriously enough.
So is that a new T-shirt then?
That's how I live my life, in the fast lane, mate. Sorry, the fat lane. Well, I mean, look at the bowl. If that was a bowl I'd had, I'd have covered in milk now.
To give Stu a wake-up call about the health implications of his weight, Dr. Christian has organised a message from America.
My name's Tom Watson. I'm 43 years old. I'm from Florida, and I weigh 34 stone. My mother really overate. Seriously. I saw the example and I followed it. The bad habits range from mindlessly snacking all day long, potato chips, dip, large portions of pasta, crackers and cheese. I would sit down with a pound of sliced cheese and wipe it out in one setting. They were all forms of escape for me: food, drugs, alcohol. I was able to quit the drugs and the alcohol, but, you know, you have to eat to live. I started driving taxis about 19 years old. It was every couple hours I would hit a drive-through, greasy burgers and fries. It was comforting to me, and whenever I needed comfort, I would eat. Well, all my health problems started in 2002. I had high blood pressure and I became diabetic, all within a couple months of each other. And that moved up to shots. I had vertical sleeve gastrectomy, weight loss surgery. Your stomach is reduced to about a 3 to 6 ounce pouch. You're completely full on a child's portion. I need help around the house constantly. Standing doing dishes for, 15, 20 minutes is out of the question. And Stu, if I could give you any advice at all, it would be this. Find out what's bothering you and address it. Because the food isn't the problem, it's just a symptom of the problem. I ended up losing my job driving. I loved it so much. The weight just finally got to me. I don't want to see that happen to you.
It's a bit shocking, isn't it?
For the first time, you haven't cracked a joke when you've hit an emotional wall.
Yeah.
And that says something to me. That meant something to you, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. Just seeing the similarities that we've got.
I think there were a lot of parallels with him.
Yeah, it was a bit uncanny, to be honest. Like he was saying, he was going to the drive-thru every few hours.
Which is what you do?
Yeah.
I tell you what my concerns have been this week. Well, it's one main one, and that's you still have a bit of an emotional wall up.
Yeah, I know. It's a defence mechanism.
It is. It's exactly what it is. It's quite unhealthy to bottle everything in, because the way that your upset manifests is usually in eating. In fact, that's what's been happening, I think, for a long time now. And
definitely.
You're realising that.
To make sure the message stays with Stu, Dr. Christian is taking things one step further.
You're going to be going out to America. Look at his life. Yeah, he's going to show you his life as it is, at that weight. If that wasn't a wake-up call for you, then I hope your visit to America really will be.
Wow. The film's had a massive effect on me. It's kind of knocked the stuffing out of me a little bit. It's like just made me wake up and smell the coffee.
It's the final evening in the feeding clinic. Despite what we've seen so far, Stu and Alice don't just live on junk. And tonight, Alice is getting her first balanced meal. Fish, oven chips, broccoli and peas.
I'm so happy about it. And there's no cheese as well.
And as Stu gets his first proper meal, quiche and salad, he has a realisation.
I don't want to go back to eating that slop I was eating before, because that's what it was to me now. It just seems like, even though it's not that long ago,
I need to go by what my body needs more than what it says on the packet.
I think we both know what we need to do now. And it's just a case of getting our heads down and getting on with it. Full?
Very.
Our two diet disasters have finally seen the light. Having reached the end of their stay in the feeding clinic, Stu and Alice are leaving with individual healthy eating plans.
When I get home, the kids are going to notice a difference straight away because I'm going to make sure that I eat more food to have more energy with them, to play with them, to do more things with them, and sitting down as a family and eating together.
I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
What lies ahead is being thinner, healthier. Before I was like the convenience king, and now the king is dead. Long live the king.
Coming up, Stu travels to America and sees where his overeating could lead him.
Tom has to take all those tablets to keep himself alive. Just don't want to get to that stage.
And he and Alice are back in the feeding clinic. Will they have made the changes needed? A short time after leaving the feeding clinic, Stu's flown to the Sunshine State of Florida, where 1 in 4 adults are obese. Dr. Christian hopes the trip will reinforce the need for Stu to change his ways once and for all.
I'm a little bit nervous about just seeing Tom for the first time.
At 43, Tom's only 6 years older than Stu and only 6 stone heavier, but that added weight makes all the difference.
Nice to meet you. Come see some of the things I have to modify in my life. I can't stand more than like 10 minutes because of the weight.
Yeah.
If I cook, spin around, I got my cooktop right here and pans down here so I can get at everything. I've been doing that for about 8 years now.
Right.
I had to modify the bathroom to be able to shower. Why don't you give it a try?
So you sit there like this and...
Yeah. Yeah, before I got the chair, I had to wash up in bed. Just,
right.
You know, face cloth and soap, you know.
Yeah.
Before that, because I couldn't stand long enough. Dry off on the bed and get dressed on the edge of the bed. And yeah, it was a real chore.
It felt a bit bizarre sitting in the shower chair because it just seems a little bit like a disabled person's shower. I don't want to see myself having to do that, really.
These are some of my medications I take every day. This is for my blood pressure because I was getting an irregular heartbeat.
Right.
Because the heart was straining from all the fat around it.
Yeah.
And then I just take Bayer aspirin to keep the blood thinned out so I don't end up with a heart attack. I've already had 1 blood clot that hit the lung after I was operated on. And then this one here is for cholesterol because...
Tom has to take all those tablets to effectively keep himself alive. It's quite depressing to see it.
I have to take one of these. And this one here is an antidepressant because being this heavy for this long will make you depressed.
And are there any side effects of taking all these tablets?
They all have side effects. They're all dangerous.
Right.
And they're beating, you know...
Beating something that's more
They're
dangerous.
beating something that's more powerful than I am.
Yeah.
And
I'd feel terrible if I had to take those every day. I just don't want to get to that stage.
At his heaviest, Tom was 40 stone. After weight loss surgery, he's now 34 stone, but he still finds getting around difficult.
I use this to get around the park because I can't walk that far. I wouldn't be able to get to all these places or anything if I didn't have this cart.
You're living proof that you can come back from it. I think to myself, I want to sort this out now.
You can jump off the elevator or any level you want to get off at, and I highly suggest you jump off of it now.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a lot easier.
I keep looking at Tom and thinking to myself, I'm not far away from that. Right, Tom. I didn't really know what to expect, but It's been a real big help. It's given me a final shove to, you know, to carry on.
So has Stu been true to his word? A few months after leaving America, he's back to meet up with Alice again and compare notes on how they've coped with their new diets.
Stu, welcome back. Tell me about the last few months then. Things have gone well?
Yeah, very well, yeah.
You're pleased with your progress?
Yeah, I'm very pleased with it, yeah.
How are you different from when I first met?
I've got more energy, got more motivation.
Yeah.
Exercise and libido is improved.
It's coming back. It's improving.
Yeah, the mojo's back, yeah.
So the missus is happy?
Yeah.
And then all the takeaways and the junky food, managed to crack that?
Cut them down to about 5% of what they used to be, maybe once a month. It's still, they're like a treat now, every so often.
Big changes.
I'm just not bogged down by cheese and just...
Wading
food.
through cheese.
Yeah.
So the cheese is not as excessive as it was now?
I've hardly had any cheese. I've just had cheese once.
And you don't miss it?
Not at all, no.
Alice is next. Dr. Christian was worried about her rigidly weighing her food, a possible sign of anorexia. So how's she got on?
So tell me about the last few months.
I think the best way to describe the last few months have been difficult. Doing the swap brought out a lot of emotions for me and made me realise how difficult I find it to eat some foods, but I still managed to do it in that environment. When it came to being at home and I didn't have the support, the sitting against the table and having to eat it, I found it really difficult to eat any foods that weren't in my comfort zone. And I think that I have used food to cope with things in ways that I shouldn't.
I think we haven't cracked you yet, to be fair. I think there's still ongoing phobias and anxieties about food.
Yeah.
I think they're very explainable, given you were very overweight and weren't happy then, and I think there is still a sort of underlying fear of going back to that, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely.
What have you managed to change? What's been successful?
I now don't weigh my cereal, which is great.
That is a big change.
It is. It's huge. It's massive.
For you, that is. Good.
It is.
OK.
I've moved from skimmed milk to semi-skimmed milk, so as a family we all have the same...
Eating together?
Yeah, making more of an effort to eat together. It isn't always possible, like with work and stuff, but generally we try to make time as a family now, so yeah, which is nice. My kids love it.
Before Dr. Christian reveals their final results, Stu and Alice are reunited.
Oh my God! You look really, really good.
Like a different person.
Nice smart shirt.
Smart
oh my God.
Yeah, both look great. Did you miss each other?
Yeah.
You did?
It's like a hole in the head.
Oh, Stu!
No, very joking.
I thought you'd get on fine.
Yeah.
Weight-wise, I know you're not overly convinced that things have changed, but the little changes that you've made, the fact that you've relaxed slightly about things, the fact that you don't obsess quite so much, has meant that you've put on 2 pounds.
Yay! Oh,
it's not
well
masses,
no.
but it is a start, and it's a direction where I want you to keep on going.
I'm pleased with that. I know it's not loads, but...
Because we're not there yet, there are other issues, deeper issues, that I really want to tackle with you. I want to send you off for some more help beyond this time, OK? So you're going to go off and see someone else just to help work those problems through. The reason I'm doing that is not because I'm terribly worried, but because I can see a good result for you in the end. You've proved it in these last few months, and I just want to make sure we nail it so that the future, these problems aren't an issue for you anymore. All right? So really well done. And Stuart, weight-wise, lost some?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I hope so.
1.5 stone.
That's what I thought I'd lost, yeah.
Was that what you were expecting?
Yeah.
Pleased with that?
Yeah, very pleased with that.
I'm pleased with that. It must be a slow, controlled, gradual weight loss. That is the key. Then you won't backfire, you won't resent it, you won't put it all back on again, and it will continue that way, so it's fantastic. And remember, the point of all this, at the end of the day, is health, isn't it? Yeah. I was banging on at you in the clinic about the health risks of being underweight or being overweight. And the good news is that you guys, the changes that you have made, have now made those risks less of a problem for you. And every bit of weight that you lose and every bit of weight that you gain will make those risks less and less and less. So well done.
Brilliant. Well done, Stu.
I am really happy with the result today. I'm not going back to the old Stu. It's a new Stu from now on.
I feel really happy about the results today, actually. I know £2 probably doesn't seem like a lot to some people, but to me, it's a really, really good result. I'm happy. It's just got to keep going now in the right direction.
If you are over or underweight and you'd like to appear in the next series of Supersize versus Superskinny, log on to channel4.com/take part for an application form. Next week in the feeding clinic, Supersize Mark's diet takes its toll on Superskinny Dale.
And I was sick twice.
Got sick twice? Wow.
Our Supersizer travels stateside to discover life at 38 stone.
Showering is kind of uncomfortable, so I have to stand sideways.
Plus why shopping for clothes is a nightmare when you have a serious eating disorder.
I just feel like I'm not worthy of such nice, clothes.
For your own personalised health check, go to channel4.com/supersize and click on My Health Check app.